Works by Design. This is Chandan. I'm an engineer, and I thought I'll share an idea with you. I'll get to the design, but let's talk about the problem first. The padlocks that you're working on have the shape, right? It is essentially an XY axis, and the key and the lock work on the idea that there is a certain depression or either a dip or a higher point at a certain distance on the x-axis and then at a certain height on the y-axis. You may not even care about the heights, but I think the distance matters. So essentially, most keys and locks were working on one dimension, maybe two. If they are sensitive to the height, then it's an x and y axis. Now, we all know that the way you solve this problem in computer science is with permutations and combinations. Your longer passwords, your encryption has a much longer key. The idea is that, yeah, you can still break it, but you'll spend a million years trying to break a longer pass key or a longer set of keys that go into encryption because the permutations are just so many. And so if you think about that, the way to solve to make a lock less pickable or not pickable by most humans would be to go from this XY axis idea to something where you have more permutations and combinations. So think of you have a disk, and you have, instead of one axis, one key, you have, let's say, 360 keys or 1,000 keys, and every key potentially could have its own shape and form. And so if that was true, then the person picking would need to know every key at a particular point. Not just that, the lock, when it is checking for this key, does not have to, you don't know if the first point was checked on key 1 and the second point was checked on key 300 and the third point was checked on key 22. So the user that's going to replicate this lock has to replicate not just the key, but also the key at the right point, and the sequence would also then matter, right, where this is. So something like this could be like a coin, and the coin is essentially that. There's no key holder. The key information is essentially in this part of the key is where the information exists. So you take that, you get rid of the rest of this body that you don't care about, and so your coin is essentially a key, and it has an x-axis, a y-axis. The x-axis is the flat coin, the y-axis is the height of those items, and the z-axis is the fact that you could have so many different coins. So you have a padlock, you slide in a key like this, and then you have a knob that turns, and it works only when the things match. So it's essentially a padlock, but with another axis built in. It was really cool seeing your first, second, or the third attempt at building an unpickable lock. I enjoyed the video. This is another idea for you to try, because this lets you just make it more interesting. You don't know if the first point was on degree 1 and the second one was on degree 49 and the third one was degree 270. You just don't know what those sequences are, and also the fact that the sequence matters. It is not just enough that you know that something is at a certain x distance or y distance. It also matters at what degree of that particular impression should have been. This will be a cool unpickable lock for you to build. I would think it is essentially not more complex than a padlock. It's just that the padlock, the male and female parts, instead of 2 dimensions, now they're 3 dimensions. And that's what makes this cool. I hope you give this a try. Best of luck. I'll look for a video if you ever make this. I think 3D printers would be great to build something like this. But yeah, best of luck. Bye.